Yeah, so let me know if we need to pour a small pad or something.
Okay, it is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. We'll call a meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
Okay, minutes are received and filed. Okay, Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Got feed day dinner tonight, Road and Bridge meeting Thursday morning. I was thinking there was something Thursday night too, but I don't have that, so I think that's about it for now.
Let's see, Wednesday you said Midmo planning?
Nope.
That Midmo planning at Ashland, 4 p.m. And Thursday you mentioned Road and Bridge. Also, Thursday morning is the County Commissioners West Central meeting in Westphalia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be able to make it?
No.
Okay.
I think I'm
I
gonna
told
go to
them-
the Road and Bridge meeting.
Yeah, I told them we. I RSVP'd for Harry and myself. Oh, you got, Kristen, how are you gonna go to school? Your writing's terrible.
Whoa.
Thanks, Sam.
That's,
That's why she's going back to school.
that must be it, I'm just, okay. Tonight, we've got the Lions Spring Fling in the rain. Yeah, tomorrow, Harry and I are going to this Central, no, that's Thursday. Tomorrow, I got the Central Workforce Development Board. Thursday's West Central, Friday's Leadership Forum. And then also Friday at 8:30 is the 35th anniversary of downtown Jefferson City. And Saturday, I'm hosting a National Guard meeting. So that's all I've got. Okay. Any commission comments? Bids and contracts, signing of agreement with Hewlett-Packard. Mr. Bryan.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is actually just a parts purchase for power supply for a server. In order to purchase it, we have to sign an agreement. So I need a signing authority to make that happen for one of our servers.
How much is it?
$309.71.
Good.
Good.
All right, make motion to sign the agreement with Hewlett-Packard for the power supply, right, Brian?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any unfinished business? Okay, new business, accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
Motion to approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna move the discussion of capital improvements projects down to the bottom. So we will go with discussion of building maintenance staffing. Yeah,
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm asking the commission to let me go ahead and hire a new individual to replace one that is getting ready to leave. We are running short on staff due to people being sick, vacation, and otherwise. We're having a hard time keeping up with cleaning in the buildings, keeping up with maintenance in the buildings, and other chores.
So when is he retiring?
December,
December?
yes.
We usually do some overlap. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, but that's a big building over there at the sheriff's department. I'd like to get somebody in there trained, knows where stuff's at, get them up to speed instead of just throwing them in. I'm sure the sheriff can attest to how big the building is.
Big building. And they do an excellent job for me.
It's like 8 months of overlap though. So, I mean, I'll do some overlap, I'm not sure that much.
Well, it's kind of like today, we're shorthanded too. It's,
Do you have an individual in mind at this point?
I have to put an ad in the paper and then go through the interview process again. I didn't get many applications the last time, as she can attest to. I think we had, what, 2 that we interviewed?
Yeah, Tuesday we interviewed, I think we had 7.
Did we have 7? Okay. But
What if you, if the ad said, beginning July 1 or something like that?
that would help. Anything's gonna help.
yeah, I'd be fine with that.
I don't know, that's still a lot of overlap. I mean, everybody's got to deal with people being out and sick and retiring and stuff, and we do overlap. I mean, when's treasurer's last day? April 1st? So I think we just signed the deputy chief treasurer. April 1st is his retirement day. Is that what it is?
Yes.
So we just hire somebody now, that's 30-day overlap. There's a lot of training involved there too, so. I don't know, I just think you gotta step it up and, you know, people are out. Just gotta work around it. Either that or you're just gonna be adding staff is all we're doing.
Well, I think it was kind of like Jordy said today, at 3:30 in the morning, he gets a call that one's not coming in, so then you've got to scamper to shift things around, so.
Then are you gonna hire a floater just to fill when they're sick? And, I mean, because it's not gonna go away. You're gonna have people that are sick. It's something that happens every day.
At some point, I'd like to get into a deeper dive on maintenance than we're talking about here. Public Works has moved to contract maintenance, correct, Eric?
Just cleaning part.
Cleaning, I'm sorry, cleaning.
Well, what
We're
maintenance
talking-
did we do out there? What maintenance did we do out there? Did we do any maintenance?
We did a few
Building
things.
maintenance, we contract that, or we do ourselves.
I'm talking about real maintenance. I'm not talking about custodial stuff, the cleaning stuff.
We've,
Because we're getting into that right now. We're not doing any maintenance. We haven't done any painting, and we've paid out way too much money for that, and a lot of small projects are just not getting done, so.
We do small stuff ourselves, for example, the server room, we've been painting and things in the offices, but tile down and whatnot. We contract that.
When you
out.
say we, our maintenance department did that, or you did it?
We as a public works.
Okay. No, I'm talking about what the maintenance department's doing out there. We're really not out there anymore.
No, they basically just came out.
So you got that.
Okay, well, I guess that's
Sorry.
confusing the term cleaning/maintenance or with maintenance. So many governmental entities have drifted away from having cleaning employees to where the cleaning side of things are contracted out. State Capitol, for an example. Truman Building, as an example. And you're very pleased with the cleaning contract performance, correct?
It's worked very well, and they show, they're there right after we leave for the day, and it's pretty methodical in what they're doing. So it's been good, and they've been buffing the floor and waxing and taking care of that too, so.
But we're drifting away from, what,
I mean, if we
What-
want to do clean contract out, that's fine.
well, I think it's at a, maybe as we get towards the budget year, I don't know what comes first, thinking about it or throwing it in the budget and trying to make it happen. Might not work, but
I don't know if you could use them at the jail.
perhaps not. I was going to check, there might, there's been some discussion of, the courthouse, will the judges like that if we went to a contract service? I was going to look and see what the Supreme Court does. Do they may have their own employees at the Supreme Court, I'm not sure. And they're not doing what Office of Administration is doing in other buildings. I don't know. Going to find out. But in front of us now is your request, right?
Yes.
What'd we add this year, person and a half?
We added a full-time person in 2021, so they're up to 8 employees counting Greg.
So we added an employee, we took away some of the responsibilities at Public Works. So,
You had 7 employees, I don't know. I think you went from a part-time to a full-time in 21.
I was thinking we had a half person that we added somewhere along the
Yeah.
line, or 1.5. So,
You mentioned the person that does the jail now is leaving in December. Is that December 31 or December 1?
The last time I spoke to the individual, he was around the 1st.
Okay.
And he's using up his sick vacation time right now. About every week he's taking a day or 2,
Of sick?
or vacation, either one.
He is burning it.
And he made a comment to her during, whatever that was, that he was gonna burn it up, so.
Yeah, he was very forthright in stating that he was gonna burn up his sick time before the which is kind of concerning.
Well-
Some of that sick pay will go with him, just for years of service. Some of it will not, and his intent, to me and Chelsea, was his intent to not leave it on the table.
To be the devil's advocate, there are some other issues with his family that's going on, so.
I had one more thing concerning our cleaning service. They have, it's a family-run business, and there's been 4 different family members in and out. It's not always the same ones each time, but they always have 2 people there every time. And so if somebody's sick or can't make it or whatever, they juggle that around. It's nothing that the county or Greg would have to worry about. It's just one of his employees couldn't make it every day.
Right.
I just think we need to work around it. I don't think throwing another person in here for 8 more months is the answer to it, so.
I can see some level of training of that person is dedicated to the Wheeler Hilton, right?
Oh!
Thank you, sir.
Hotel Wheeler, yes.
I would rather wait a few months,
Okay.
Greg, until we're closer to the,
Say July, if you want, we put an ad in. See what-
put an ad in July, but maybe make the hire date effective
November, October.
October 1. That gives you 2 months.
Thank you.
Okay. Do they get frequent flyer points, John, for staying at your hotel or?
Only if they use Citibank. They gotta use the Citibank double cashback credit card.
But they need to cross-train though, so that if somebody is gone over there, then somebody from the annex or the courthouse or health department or wherever can go over there. So we shouldn't have just 2 people that can work there, especially with one retiring and one of them being the deputy underneath of you that needs to be pulled off to do other stuff. So we need to have other people trained, so,
I've got 2 other people that can work over there.
okay.
He does a good job about rotating people whenever they need help and stuff, so they do a pretty good job in my facility.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, discussion of 40 hours extension of COVID leave.
No, again, I'll let Sheila talk about it. This was the federal law for COVID.
I'm okay with it.
that went out.
And to,
Save your time if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do-
it's not mandated. We have not had anyone request any COVID pay for, this is the second full pay cycle. So for 4 solid weeks, no one has requested any pay. It could be that they have used it previously and/or we are a healthier bunch recently, which Christie can attest to. I did hear yesterday that a new version has been discovered in Europe, so it'll be making its way to us probably May or June, according to the news reports. But
Depends
right
on
now,
when the
we are
war's
not-
over.
Pardon?
Depends on when the war's over.
When we get ready for holiday. But yeah, right now, as of today, we've not had anyone request the COVID pay that we know of for 4 weeks solid.
What is our expiration date if we don't take action? Does it go away?
The
Don't,
31st of this month.
okay, and I think we can extend it. I mean, it's not fair to somebody who gets it now and didn't have it before compared to someone who had it before and is not going to get it again. So
yeah, and if we don't use it, we don't use it.
what if we, put another extension or termination date of June 30 or something like that? What do you think, Jeff?
Do June 30th? Yeah, then we don't have to keep coming back
Okay,
every two
Under the
papers,
same
whatever.
parameters, the 40 hours, and as long as it's not been used before.
right.
Yeah.
Is that the end of a pay period, or will that work?
The 30th will work. We'll just bring it back to you. It was,
Okay.
June 30th.
Okay, so we do need to take an action now. So
Please, if you would.
my motion is to extend or the COVID leave 40-hour period from where it exists today to June 30? June 30 of 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, discussion of extension of premium pay.
Okay, we were trying to coordinate those at the same time, so again, this one actually ends with this check coming up, which is the check that's gonna be dated the 31st. Time period ended on the 26th that we'll be working on. So we just need to know if you want to extend that premium pay and keep it for another quarter or however long you want to do that. It's costing us about $56,000 to $60,000 a pay period with benefits. Currently, how we're doing it, the $100 and $200.
From the ARPA money,
Yes.
so.
I know we've heard from some of our department heads and things like that. I would just do it the same period as the 40-hour extension till the end of
I'm
June.
fine with that too.
So that one may be a little more specific with your motion to be the last paycheck in June.
Because it's all about the reporting.
Yeah, reporting on that one, we
Yeah.
report quarterly, so
Okay.
Okay.
last paycheck in June.
I'm going to go on record, and I'll probably be outvoted here, but I think the premium pay is there for the exposure, and if we haven't had cases, we don't have the exposure. I'm all right being outvoted on this one, but at some point,
Yeah.
just because we threw $1.5 million into that bucket doesn't mean we have to spend $1.5 million if the exposure is gone. I hope I'm right when the exposure is gone, but maybe
We currently have a COVID positive prisoner. So all of my staff right now down in the jail are having to deal with that. And then if you talk to, and I'm speaking for EMS, they're still dealing with COVID
Yes.
patients too. So,
And employees,
and employees.
or family of employees.
Families,
Yeah.
yes, sir. So I see where you're coming from, and I know it's gonna end sometime, but with the war going on, COVID magically disappeared, but we are still dealing with it.
we're dealing with people that have it, but our own people don't have it. Is that right, Sheila?
That's a true statement to a certain extent, because I think what the premium pay wasn't because that people get the COVID. I think the premium pay was because they're working and they're exposed to
Exposed.
COVID. So if I have inmates in my facility that are COVID positive and they're not symptomatic, and we have policies and procedures that we're following that seems to be working, but you know, we are still being exposed to it. We're still having to deal with COVID.
It's dealing with money transactions too and having papers handed back and forth. So, I mean, they're keeping us open, so I just feel like I want to keep it going right now.
I'm comfortable extending it
So,
to
okay.
June. And then we'll look at it I mean, yes, it'd be wonderful to say, hey, COVID's behind us. You know, the news they were talking about, oh, you know, pretty soon now we'll just get a shot in the fall, like a flu shot for COVID. That'd be wonderful, but.
4 or 5 shots.
I'm comfortable with extending it to,
Okay. I'll make a motion to extend the premium pay until the last pay period in June 22.
and I will second that.
Say the last
Does-
check date in June. Sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna change it to the last check date in June. I know you said that, I thought you
Yeah.
meant the pay period, so I apologize. So I'm gonna make it to the last check date in June 2022.
I will prepare a revised policy and bring it to the next session for signing.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay. Okay, we're moving right along. Approval of care leave request.
Mr. Chairman is here to talk to you.
Good morning.
Morning, LB.
The Care Leave Committee had a meeting on March 16th, first time we've met in a couple of years. We have an employee, longtime employee, that had a request in, and the Care Leave approved that request for 30 days. And then we'll review it if still needed after that point in time, but typically we approve them for a 30-day period at a time. As you all know, you all have the final approval of that, but our committee voted unanimously to approve the care leave pay request. So I'm asking the commission to likewise approve it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. So what kind of motion do you need on that then?
Just a motion to approve the 30-day care leave.
Okay, make a motion to approve the 30-day care leave recommended by the Care Leave Committee.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Hey,
discussion
I'd
of
just like,
Jason.
hey,
Oh.
just real quick, Sam.
Yes.
First, I want to thank the commission for allowing us to have the care leave program, and thank the county employees. We have a very healthy number of hours that have been contributed by county employees, and I'm really thankful for that, so.
Yeah, we should be a team. We should be helping each
We're a
other.
good family, dysfunctional, but we're a good family.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay. Discussion of the Jeff City Bike Loop.
I brought this up again because I had a few phone calls, and I actually told him, I said, well, you're talking to the, barking up the wrong tree here because I voted against it. So I told him to give you guys a call. I don't know if you got any calls about it, and I talked to Eric about it in the meantime, and y'all said you're fine revisiting it. Maybe we do a traffic study on it, speed study. So that's where we're at with it. I don't know if anything changes or not. That'll be entirely up to what y'all want to do today.
I had more than just phone calls. I had visitors in my office, so I know people are
Okay.
concerned. So I'm interested in discussing it further.
I am too.
So you had asked me to do a traffic study or speed study on it. We did that. The ADTs, which is the total traffic volume on the road, are almost the same in the two locations we did, one east of County Park Road and one east of Glenstone Drive, 1521 and 1583, so that's essentially the same. Average speed and 85th percentile, those are different. Generally, we look at the 85th percentile to set speed limits. And those numbers were just under, or just right around 50 miles per hour. The average speed is 44 and 45. So people are driving faster than the speed limit on this road, which is normal with this type of road. It's Old Route C. It's got some curves, but it's generally straight, generally open, compared to some of our other county roads that are more rural in nature. We did that. That's the information that you all had asked for. Knowing that this was coming back on the agenda, I made sure David was aware of it because he's the one that originally brought this to us. And he's got a few slides to go over to maybe explain more about biking on roadways, the JC loop and whatnot. And as your public works director, we have bikes on our roadways all over the place. It's nothing we can prevent. It's going to happen. We have ways of dealing with it from a public works standpoint. There's signing we can put up. For an instance, in this case, there's other ways to deal with it too. Generally on the higher speed roads, you don't normally see the bikes except for the ones that are more avid and do it for more, a little beyond just basic recreation. I, as the director, don't have an issue with bikes being on a roadway. In some instances, it might be better to have a sign out there to get people used to the fact that the bikes are on the roadway. But it's with the speed and differences and whatnot, it might be more of a, if it's a safety issue or an enforcement issue, it might go back more to the sheriff department as far as regulating speed on the roadway. We can do things in that regard too, but it's a little tough sometimes, as evidenced by the traffic study that we did. Just in general with speed on county roadways, it's hard to keep people driving the speed limit, and there's all different avenues of addressing it out there. They cost money a lot of times, but I'll quit. I've just said and given you all the information, and I just turn it over to David. He can talk more about the specifics about the bikes on the roadway.
And I put together a couple slides if you all would like to see them. I could certainly run through them and let you see. And some of it begins with just planning. So I think when I was here last time, I made mention that I saw a map that someone pulled out of their desk drawer 20 years ago that had this route on it. But then perhaps slightly more official than that was back in 2007, the Greenway master plan that was put together by our Parks Department ultimately was showing where they would like to see greenways and on-street bike routes or bike routes in the city and then actually out into the county. And so you can see, back in 2007, that same piece that we're talking about here on Rock Ridge and County Park was part of that 2007 plan. So then,
Click on that. Start the slideshow.
Yeah. Starts the chapter. And so then if we continue on, then in 2016, we redid the pedestrian and bike plan. The CAMPO, the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, did that. And again, lots of folks involved in that, and then came up with, again, recommendations for on-street bike routes. And as you can see, that's the Rock Ridge County Park portion is again on that plan. So then just looking a little bit into some of the county's own documents, into their 2010 master plan and some of the things that were mentioned in that. Certainly this is very interesting, a discussion about the railroad and how we should be paying attention to the railroad in terms of if there's any changes in whether or not the rail lines are still there, and ultimately rails to trail corridors. So there's a couple paragraphs about that. And just some comments from respondents, looking for additional recreational opportunities within the county, and then some comments about the need for there to be bike lanes on various roadways. So then looking at some of the goals associated with that 2010 master plan, one of the environmental goals, and again this is sort of tangential, but certainly people looking for access to trails from their own neighborhoods, and then under environmental goal number 7, is to develop programs to encourage alternate modes of transportation, biking, walking, transit, etc. So this is a map actually taken out of an app called Strava. And so it is an app that people who ride or walk or hike or kayak or paraglide or whatever, they can record their activities on this app. And so basically this is a map that shows where people are going. And so the whiter the line, the color white, that indicates a higher use. And so then the colors as they go down, are just sort of gradually going down in use. And so what's interesting, obviously, this line is the Katy Trail. And so a lot of heavy use there, and so we can see some heavy use here in and around Jefferson City. But what I think is extraordinarily interesting is if you look at the rivers, you can kind of see them. So here's the Osage River here. Of course, the Missouri River is on top. But what I think is interesting is there isn't a river here, and yet there's a very defined line. And that just happens to be the western boundary of Cole County. And so, here we have Route N, Double N, P Ridge, all these county roads that are out here in this part of the county, and certainly county roads everywhere. North and South Teal Bottom, Deer Run, Wardsville Road, all these county roads that have a lot of cycling activity on them. And so if we look a little closer, certainly we are beginning to see this Jefferson City Loop, but also, Old Bowman Road, Wade Road, all these county roads that have a ton of bicycle activity on them. Oops, so if we pull in a little closer, again, looking at that sort of idea of the Jefferson City Loop, you can certainly see it. Here's the Capitol, down West Main, out onto Truman, North 10 Mile, South Country Club, out County Park, Rock Ridge, Ellis, Roxy Ellis, and then back in around. So, obviously that's, an area that has a lot of bike traffic, as reported by this app. Oops, this is very sensitive. And so this is really hard to see, unfortunately, but we did a look at the accidents or crashes that have taken place along County Park and Rock Ridge. Unfortunately, our system is down and we can't get the latest data, but this is from 2006 to 2018. If you squint really, really hard, you can see some little rectangles here on the map, and so there's about 34 of those. And essentially there seem to be at driveway accesses is where the focus of most of them seem to be. I don't know, people coming out of their driveways and getting hit. And there was a significant number of animal strikes, along that path as well, but no incidents of, pedestrian or bicycle crashes. And so just some information, some studies have been done. Ultimately, the studies show that if you increase the volume or the number of cyclists on a road, the road actually becomes safer, both for cyclists and for motorists. And so the idea being, and I think Eric kind of alluded to it, is, if I realize that there is something on this road that I need to be paying attention to, I might well be paying more attention. And so if I'm aware that there's going to be cyclists on this road, well then perhaps I'm driving a bit slower, or perhaps I'm paying a little bit more attention. And so, it might be odd, but in some ways it's kind of like a deer crossing sign. So we don't put up a deer crossing and expect the deer to cross there. We realize that there are deer crossing and we put up the sign so that people know to expect them. And so, and in a spot where there's more deer, it's probably less likely that there's going to be one hit because people are expecting that we see them every day. So just some studies that have been done about that. And then in terms of the signage that we were actually intending to put out, so this is just a couple of clips from the manual and uniform traffic control devices. And essentially what we're doing is, and here's kind of a little image of what that could look like. Of course, this is showing a 4-lane roadway, but just imagine that this is the center stripe. And so the lane width out there on Rock Ridge is about 10.5 feet. And so ultimately a cyclist occupies about 4 feet of space. And so if you have 4 feet of space for the cyclist, well then obviously there's not enough space left for a vehicle. And so then that is where this sign comes in. Is ultimately we're informing the vehicles that when you encounter a cyclist, you're not going to be able to pass them without getting out of your own lane. And so that's just, again, just an METCD sign that is basically talking about substandard lane widths. And when they're talking about that, basically anything less than 14 feet is what they consider to be substandard. And then again, just some additional bike markings that would potentially go with the sign, but we're not proposing those on Rock Ridge or County Park. And so, oops, this is really touchy. So what this does for us ultimately is if you were to draw a half-mile buffer around what we're proposing is the Jeff City Bike Loop, and then through the Wares Creek Greenway trail that we have, essentially we've created a situation where almost everyone is within a half mile of one of those facilities. And so that covers a vast majority of the city. And so ultimately, that's, one of our goals is to provide that access to people. Now, is this a perfect demonstration of what that is? Well, no, because there's the highway and such, that would prevent you from getting there directly, but it gives us an idea of what kind of coverage that we have. And so then kind of looking bigger picture, ultimately back to the 2016 bike plan put together by Campo, they were starting to look a little bit more regionally. And one of those things that they were looking at was the possibility of the Rock Island Trail. So certainly that's been in the news as of late in terms of what that could potentially do in the development of that trail. And so you can kind of see that coming across here at the bottom of the screen. And of course we have the Katy Trail up here at the top. And we have Cole County sandwiched right in the middle. So what's nice about, I think is good for us, is that if you look at the two trails, so the blue trail is the Katy and the red is the Rock Island, the somewhat in the middle and at the closest connection point is Cole County. So Cole County sits right here. Eugene is right here in Jefferson City. And so really we're looking at the possibility of there being some sort of bike connection between those two facilities, in terms of, economic development and attraction, to bring those to, get some benefit out of those two facilities that sort of bracket Cole County. So anyway, that's just a little couple of things that I thought, might be good to mention, and so I'd be happy to answer any questions.
What's the definition of a ton of traffic like on Wardsville Road? Because I do not thankfully run into that many bicycles on that road, because that's a substandard road as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't stop the bikes from coming out there. That's a fact. If you want to have something marking that there's a trail to go that way, but the bikes using the full lane doesn't make sense to me, because you're sending them out on and you said it yourself, substandard lane road. So at that point, they need to take it upon themselves to look out, because you got cars coming through there at 50 miles per hour over hills, around corners and stuff. And you're saying that putting the signs up makes it safer for like the trails, the rails and stuff. Well, then build a damn trail. Don't put them on my substandard roads. It's causing accidents to happen, and it's hard on the drivers too, especially younger drivers that aren't used to it. You don't need a sign for me to watch for deer, because I just like watching for deer. So that one goes without saying. But even Route B going to St. Thomas is a terrible road, but people like to ride their bikes on it. You gotta be ready to meet them and a tractor trailer at the same time. But we don't need a bunch of signs on Route B saying, well, here's a trail to Rock Island Trail, which that's gonna be getting down in St. Elizabeth Way and stuff. So, I don't know. I'm fine with the bikes being on there, but if we're gonna have a trail, then let's have a trail. Let's have ATVs, UTVs, everything be able to use it, not just bicycles. Why can't it be a motorbike? So.
I actually agree with Jeff. Greenways I like, and the railroad beds, if we can do that, I think, but our roads, and at 50 miles an hour, to me, that's, I'm not comfortable with that.
You're not comfortable with what?
Marking it for bicycles.
It's not marking it for
Well,
bicycles.
it's-
It is telling the people there are bicycles, and we cannot keep the bicyclists off those roads.
But then we have to mark all the roads.
No, we
Because they
don't.
can be everywhere. There's nothing saying they have to be on road that's wide enough and has shoulders versus a substandard width road. So we need to mark all of them. Anywhere you see a deer sign, we need to put a bicycle sign too, and just use their post. So, and it's not gonna stop on Rock Ridge. I mean, it's gonna go all the way to Rock Trail, or Rock Island Trail at some point. And then everybody's going on a trail. Well, I want a trail out to Wardsville, and then I want a trail that circles down to St. Thomas, and let's go down through Henley. If you want to go through Deer Run Road, that's probably somewhat safer road, less traffic. So
I don't know if a bicycle sign is most people probably won't even notice it. I don't know. I'm just,
I think whether it was intentional or not, in the 30 years that there's been the gravel road upgrades in Cole County, they have created what is a very attractive system for cyclists. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't the intention, but given the fact that the volumes are as low as they are on so many of the county roads, a person could be out there cycling for an hour and meet 3 cars. So that is a very attractive facility, which, perhaps is actually an asset for the county.
I talked to Ralph Bray yesterday. If you called me and said he'd probably call him. He's working with the Rock Island group as far as putting trailhead down in Eugene. And so I don't know if what we decide today is a precursor to what we would decide later, but the move to get a signed loop or signed route from the Katy Trail down to the Rock Island Trail will.
So what do you need a signed loop for?
I'm not
You've
saying
got
we need it.
GPS on your
I'm
phone.
saying
Most everybody has an app on their phone telling them where to go.
There will be a request for that.
So,
So I just want y'all
I
to
mean-
be aware of that. I'm not saying we have to do it or don't have to.
then you're saying, well, we're gonna have to put it on all the roads and tell them, watch out for bicyclists and watch out for armadillos pretty soon. We're gonna have to have all kinds of signs out there.
Jeff, I just said, I'm not saying we have to do it or don't have to.
I'm not arguing, well, I am arguing, yeah.
I'm not arguing, I'm saying there will be a request for it, so I think just be prepared.
I wish this was a
Already,
little wider
And that's a
road.
lot, that's gonna be a lot bigger deal than this is here, so.
Yeah.
And it's a lot worse roads. We've taken a Jeep trip trying to figure out where the roads we're gonna go to get to where they wanna put that trailhead.
I don't disagree with you.
And,
I'm just making.
and that's gonna be even sillier. So,
Yeah, I'm just telling you, there will be a push, and it'll be a lot bigger push probably than what David has here today. So, like I said, I'm just, from our standpoint, we don't have a problem putting the signs out on the road. I understand the safety issue or the concern. We don't, the roads are for public use. We don't, as the Public Works Department, don't try to regulate who can use them. Bikes are gonna use them, motorcycles, trucks, whatever. And we just gotta do our part to maintain them and keep them in good condition and try to make them as safe as possible for whoever uses them. So, this again was brought to us by the city for just the JC bike loop. And we're just trying to accommodate that if that's the direction the county commission wants to go.
Are you just putting signs up, or are you gonna paint those on the pavement
No,
like this
we-
we've got here? Because those are the most confusing.
It would just be signs. There'll be sharrows painted on different portions of the city street system, but in the county portion, it would just be signs.
I just think it's gonna open up a whole can of worms when you get ready to start doing the other one. So, if you're gonna do it now, you might as well start marking all the roads.
I think we need to be very, very careful when they start putting the others, because you can't do that on some of our old, narrow, curvy, hilly,
But that's where they ride now, and they're gonna want signs there, it's because you need to warn everybody, there may be an idiot driving on the substandard road, so don't hit them, which we do anyway. I mean, I don't know anybody out there that drives around looking for a bicyclist to hit. You're watching down the road, because you don't wanna die either. If you take some kind of corrective action, it can take you off these curvy roads and kill yourself or your family, so. I mean, it's just telling them they can use the whole road, just gives them that much more incentive to take up that much more and give you less room to maybe take some kind of defensive action if you do come around a curve and there's a bicycle and a tractor trailer. So,
And so the sign doesn't mean that the cyclist is going to be riding out by the center line. The manual or the Missouri code for cyclists is that they're supposed to stay as far to the right as is safe. What the sign is saying is even if the cyclist is as far to the right as is safe, you still can't pass them while staying in your lane. The lane is 10.5 feet wide. The cyclist is taking up 4 feet. The truck is 7 feet wide. The math doesn't work. And so the sign is indicating to the driver that they're going to have to cross into the other lane to get around the cyclist. It's not telling the cyclist that he can ride out at the center line, because that's not what the sign means.
I think it kinda does tell them that.
I disagree with you, Jeff. We're not telling the deer to cross at certain places. They just happen to, and therefore we're warning the drivers that there's deer crossing here more than other places. I don't see that it encourages more biking necessarily. They're already identifying where they want to go with their white lines. I hear the people that say, I'm concerned about cyclists, but whether there's signs there or not, the cyclists are going to be there. So why not alert the driver?
How many signs are we talking?
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had.
Going both ways, so 4.
4 and 4.
We got 4 by County Park Road. And 1 at Rock Ridge and or
maybe it's only
2
6.
Rock Ridge and Glenstone.
Well, we have them.
6
we
on
have
the
4 of them at the corner
presentation.
and 2 of them at Glenstone. So, well, it depends on, there'd be 6 posts, there would be 8 signs. Because there'd be the wayfinding signs and then.
Then you got the other 2 for the full lane signs.
Right.
So, okay, 8 signs, 6 posts. So, I don't know,
Refresh my memory for it. What did we do previously? We authorized the signs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
And this is basically the reconsideration of authorizing those signs?
yeah.
Okay.
So, I'll make a motion to rescind the authorization to put the signs up, see where that goes.
I'll second your motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Okay, approval of city-county agreement for building permit inspection assistance.
So, as I mentioned previously, we have, one of our building inspectors is gonna be out on medical leave for upwards of 4 months. Reached out to the city about possibly helping us do permit inspections in the time that he's gone. Our other permanent inspector, he is a part-time, 1,000-hour employee, and for the most part, can take care of everything, but there's gonna be times where we need the city to help us out. That seemed to be the most viable option, being that they're experienced in doing the type of work that we need done in our building inspector's absence. So we worked out a verbal agreement with them to fill in as needed, and this agreement was worked on by the city attorney and Bill. And basically, it just spells out some specifics on that. We will pay them, and actually, let me back up. This is it could go both ways. It's an MOU. In the event that they would need assistance from us, we can provide it at the same terms. So it addresses doing building inspections and also building permit review or plan review. So there's multiple things in there. The reimbursement rate would be 150% of the employee hourly wage plus benefits. And that is to cover mileage going to and from usage of their vehicle, their city vehicle to do the work. And Jill and I discussed and felt that was a fair, outside of trying to calculate an exact amount, that seemed to be the most fair way to do it. So we're not talking about a ton of money. The worst of it's going to be initially when we just coincidentally we'll have both inspectors out for a week and a half initially. So the worst of it will be the first couple of weeks, and then after that it'll be on an as-needed basis a couple times a week probably. So we just need approval of this agreement to move forward.
Kristen had a question about not to exceed. Right now, we're not committing to any money. So, I mean, this is an agreement if we choose to use their services. So where that would kick in, Kristen,
As if you were saying
is if we actually do use their service.
Yes.
And it would depend on the salary of a particular inspector from the city too, because I'm assuming some may be paid.
Differently than others.
Mhm. So you don't need to sign this.
Any questions?
Just a quick one. It says 150% of wage plus benefits. Is that 150% of wages plus benefit, or is it 150% of wages and 150% of benefits?
It would be the wage and the benefit, whatever that number is.
Okay,
It's $50
times.
an hour. And so 100%,
Okay.
So 1.5 times that. So $75.
Where I was getting, I don't care to argue about it, but 150% of a combination of wage and benefits. All right. Clear.
That's what well, not 100% of wage and benefits for sunshine law time, like say Brian's time. When we bill people who are making a sunshine request for staff time, that includes benefits too.
I understand. It's just that where we paying for 150% of wages and 150% of benefits, or is it 150% of wages plus benefits?
It's 150% of both.
I think the number would be the same.
No, if it's 150% of wages, okay, we can and then it says plus benefits. It should say 150% of a combination of wages and benefits, if we're doing 150% of both.
That's what I understood it to be.
Okay,
Maybe
well,
I'm not. Let me read it again here.
I just want to make it clear so there's not a misunderstanding later. And I'm okay with either one, it just, I want it to be clear.
150% of the inspector's hourly wage, including benefits. So
Okay.
Oh, it says
Okay.
including benefits, it doesn't say plus benefits. Okay, very good, then it's clear.
whatever
For that,
Clear as mud.
Whatever that total combined number is.
If it says including, yes, instead of plus. All right.
how many times do you think we're gonna need to use this? I mean, when we need to have some kind of limit on it, because at some point, it doesn't make sense to be paying them 150% of that and not hiring somebody.
Well,
I know one of them's
Because
talking
it's-
about re-retiring, and then the other one, he may never retire, I don't know.
as I looked at this, I tried to find the most economical way to pull this off in the short amount of time that we had to make a decision. And we think roughly for the first week, it'll be up to 5 times a day. After that, it's gonna be a couple times a week. It could be none, if it's a rainy week or whatever, or there's just not that many specific inspections needed.
Yeah, I like that concept, I'm just trying to figure out how much you were looking at having to use it, you know.
Hopefully not that much, but it's just a temporary stopgap
Yeah.
measure to cover it.
When you got
And
one
then
out
if
for
something
medical.
happens, then we need to,
I think it's gonna work good, I was just
Yeah.
curious, so.
Jeff, just some rough numbers in my mind as I was trying to equate something the best I could. I was thinking upwards of 10,000 total over the course of the 4-month period. It really just depends on what the housing market's doing and how many, talking to Mark yesterday, there's a lot of permits out right now. So it could be that we're pretty busy.
I figured it was gonna be pretty busy, we got a bunch, especially out on the east side.
Yeah, so it might be more, might be less. I think at this point, this is by far our best avenue to get this accomplished.
I
And
agree.
be able to meet the needs of the citizens and the contractors doing work, so. And the city's accommodating and willing to work with us, and I appreciate
Yeah.
them doing that.
Yep, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the city-county agreement for building permit inspection assistance.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, signing a quote from SHI for Office 365 renewal.
Brian again.
Yeah,
I told you I was trouble. Got it listed.
Thought you said this was next week. Not ready for this today.
So, the county currently utilizes Office 365 for multiple departments. And it's an annual subscription, and it's due to renew, and the renewal amount is $20,344.13. And we turn around and we actually split that out by department. It depends upon what departments are using how many licenses. So do you have any questions? The current number of licenses that we have right now are, let's see. So we have 79 licenses, which are just email only, and then we have 44 licenses that cover the Microsoft suite of products in Office.
Is that what we usually have?
We
This
actually,
is something that we do every year, right?
yeah, it's an annual renewal, yeah. So we started this approximately 2 years ago.
So what do we usually do? Is this what we have budgeted?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good with it. Make a
No.
motion to sign the agreement with SHI for the Office 365.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
There's no sticker on this one, you gotta know where to sign.
Oh,
Have a quote, just sign the bottom.
at the bottom, okay. Discussion of health department generator.
Well, it's actually on capital too, but whichever way you want to.
Well, yeah, but
I think we've been talking about this for a little while. Greg was able to get some quotes for us, and it's off of a cooperative agreement, correct? So we didn't have to put it out for bid.
Correct. It's off of Sourcewell.
So if the cost to do with the generator and installation for the entire building was like $207,000. But if we do the vaccine and server room, it's $43,649. $43,649.
Hang on, I gotta find my email so I can get this stuff in front of me.
43,000 gets you your server
Have it
done.
attached
all-
to the
all the vaccines,
agenda.
machines done. Camera system will be on it, the alarm system will be on it, and some lighting.
We would be very happy to have those rooms covered. I think the only concern we would have is maybe the heating and air conditioning for those rooms. If we had talked at one time, we had like ceiling tiles opened up and we were trying to monitor the temperature in that room because you do have 3 refrigerators and a freezer going in there, so they produce a lot of heat. So we might want Greg to look into getting some sort of split unit for that room, which we've talked about it a couple times before, and have that also run on the generator, because if it was very hot outside, I'm not sure depending on the temperature of the room, it'd be hard for the refrigerators and the freezers to keep up. But
You would need an AC for the server room too, correct?
there's already one there.
And it's covered under the generator?
It will be, I'm sure.
And I know we talked about the whole building, but one of the issues with the whole building was it comes with a 850-gallon tank, and that only runs the building for like 24 hours. It's,
24.
yeah, and then that's, depending on the cost of diesel, that's a lot.
generally when you're down for a couple hours or,
But it would keep us from having to transfer all the vaccine over and from having to reboot all of
Yeah,
the
this-
server system, which happened a few weeks ago.
yeah, this 43,000 would keep you from having to transfer.
Sheriff, you have the big generator, right?
Yes, sir.
And do you have to crank that thing up and run some diesel through it every once in a while just to see if it's
It runs
working?
automatically. It comes on and runs automatically
Okay.
It
every
loads
week.
Every week?
every week, 30 minutes it loads up.
Ours at our old building used to do that too.
The one we moved from the old health down to Springer, it does the same thing. The generators that are outside of EMS, the 2 small ones that are outside there do the same thing also.
Okay.
And the one that we installed her do the same thing, give it exercise. And the one in the courthouse exercise once a week.
I think the difference of 163,000 pushes me to the 43,699 option.
Is that gonna get everything y'all wanted on there? I thought there was a happy medium somewhere in there too. Y'all were looking at having a few more things on there than just that. Cause we went from one small area to the full extreme of the whole thing, so it was a big difference.
I think, yeah, I think having those 2 rooms covered and then being able to look at the AC unit for the vaccine room, a split unit for that, I would like that to be a consideration.
A little mini split.
Right.
Just like the server.
Because we want to make sure that the vaccines are still going to be protected if the power's out and it's 105 outside.
Is this 43, is that the electrician and the generator itself?
Yeah, here, I can give you.
Pigtails or whatever?
Yeah, that's everything.
Is that right?
So let's be clear on this air conditioning situation. That room is going to be air conditioned even if the rest of the place is not?
Well, like right now, the server room has its own little unit.
Okay,
That's
but you're asking for a separate unit for the vaccine room.
I would like it to at least be considered. That way, if we have a power outage.
And
Because
what's,
even now, it has a hard time keeping up in the summer because it's such a small room and there's so much in there.
what's that take to happen? And if it did happen, will this generator power that? Okay, so what we're just talking about is flipping some switches to make it happen?
What we're talking about is if the power goes out, there's an automatic transfer switch outside, automatic tells the generator to start, flips the switch, powers the panel for everything that we just discussed. The servers, the vaccine room, few lighting, camera system, the alarm system, and then also the 2 mini splits that'll be on it.
How much is the additional air conditioning?
I have not priced it yet, but I would say probably 32 to 3,500 would get it done.
Okay.
So we have 22,000 for the generator itself, right?
Yes.
42?
No, for just the generator was like
Okay,
22,
for
322.
the generator, okay, so I'm trying to,
And the installation was 21 something.
Yeah, that gets the gas piping, electric, everything done. Some wires relocated to have whatever discussed.
because we got a pad or something out there
It's
already
already,
for
yeah,
it,
there's
so-
already a concrete pad there.
And it will fit on.
So then what was the Cummins thing, Cummins bid on there?
That is the
That's the
generator.
generator.
Both were all source wells for Cummins. These they were cheaper than the Cat. And
So I have 115,369 on one of them.
That's for the
that's the
big
full
one.
generator, and then there should be one for Myers for 99. That gets you to 207. There's-
This is just chopped up, I can't figure it out. I need help here.
Here, Debbie has one that's stapled together.
This is the full building. and
Well, I mean,
this
that's
is-
where we can get a spreadsheet that has all this crap on it. I'm trying to flip between 4 things, so I don't know what we're doing. So what is that? That's this? So you have the 21,000 from Meyer plus 22,000 for that generator, or else you have 115,000 plus the 91,000.
Correct.
Okay, so that one was already out the door anyway, because we didn't need to do the whole thing. But I think we're still, I don't know if we've got everything covered that you're talking about, though.
I think we did. I think it'll cover everything.
I don't see the air conditioner in here. You said
Well,
another air
besides-
conditioner.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just
I don't see repairing, painting and patching where we have electrical problems and stuff. I don't see that in here. So, I mean, it's gonna be substantially more. So we need to know everything we're getting into.
What are you talking about, dude? I'm lost.
Well, number 1 says excludes all painting and patching. Number 2, you said we need an air conditioner.
There isn't gonna be, the way they're running the piping, they're gonna go through the roof, make a penetration right into the main electrical room.
Okay, I'm just curious, why would you put excludes it then? Because they're gonna have to cut into something?
There's not
So-
gonna be any pain as far as I know.
Then what about
But
the
yeah,
air
you're
conditioner?
right. The air conditioner is not included in there.
Yes.
Even at 3,500, you're looking at $47,200.
I know, but I want a bottom line on stuff. This all of a sudden we gotta come back and go, well, this one went over. I mean, you don't do these bids that way at home, do you? You're going, okay, well, I'm gonna go get a bid on a car and, oh shit, you wanted tires on it? Well, you didn't say that. So I need a bottom line on these things. If y'all wanna approve it the way it is today, we need to get it moving. I don't disagree, but we don't have it all in here.
The only thing I was
So-
not aware of, Jeff, was the little mini split. I will get your price for that exactly today. I will make
We
it
got the air
call.
conditioning unit too. We'll have to figure out if we have to have a unit on there, or do we just need to pull some warm air out of there? Cause those machines are putting off a lot of hot air, and that's probably what a lot of it is.
Yeah, it's exactly
Getting that
what
out.
it is. It's
So
a
it
small
doesn't
room.
necessarily need a new air conditioner.
Well, there's
So-
not one in that room. There's one in the server room, but not that room.
But you can run some other vents over to it, or if you have to run its own system to it. I mean, you do it with computers. We run into that stuff a lot of times too. We have to have its own system to keep them things cooled off. So,
Right, that's what we have in the server room, so you would like that for the backseat room as well?
With the understanding that there may be a bit more to come later, like a $3,400 air conditioner and other littler things, I'm going to make a motion that we go with the generator at the price of $43,649,
Generator and installation at
installed at $43,649.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I will get you a price on the mini split today.
Okay.
And I'm assuming out of capital, right? We're not gonna worry about ARPA application or anything, it's just out of capital. Purchase this.
Well, commits
Well,
for vaccines and things like that, which are,
It's up to you guys.
why not take it out of ARPA?
And
Well-
we can put an application in.
I mean, that's what ARPA's money is for.
Yeah, so I have that ELC contract, the epidemiology for laboratory capacity contract, and I was telling Eric that I put in a request through CDC to see if the driveway renovation and overlay could be approved, and it was denied. But in their frequently asked questions, there is a question about generators, so I will resubmit a request to see if I can get that contract to cover the generator, all this cost. So I think that.
Fair enough.
I could probably get that answer pretty quick, so.
Okay.
I just got the one, I wanted to try the driveway first, and that was denied. So now I'll try generators.
Okay. And then since we've got Greg here, and I had moved the discussion of capital improvement projects down, so I think we just need to continue to look at that. I had put that on the agenda because we really haven't done anything in the last 2 years. And now that hopefully things are getting a little back to normal, we need to start looking at what we need to do. So,
And
you
as
know,
you know, in the budget, we had a list of things that
Yes.
were in the budget. Different departments, even juvenile was asking me, they had asked for stuff. This was not a given as soon as the budget was approved, so if you want to approve some small stuff that maybe we want to get bids on now or move forward, or if you've got a big project in mind you want to get started, we can have Jessica start bidding out some of this stuff. It's kind of what we're here for.
I know we had the Carnegie elevator we've put off. I know the old jail, we're gonna have to do something to sooner or later. My thing with the Pringer Center, I wanna just, EMS and Pringer, I just soon put new floors down like what we've got at the health department. And,
So Toby, we talked a little bit about some of the projects that you all had going, but Judge couldn't be here today because of the trial. So did you want to talk about a little bit?
Yeah,
Or-
come up there. I'm here to help.
oh, God.
That's what I understand about you.
Sort of.
Right. So I would like to be added to the April 6th agenda to discuss building plans and doing a building study to expand the detention facility, whether we expand and renovate or we look at a different building. The judge, I discussed with Jeff adding this to this agenda, but he's in a jury trial and couldn't be here today. Or criminal trial, one or the other.
Yeah, I said if she wants to come by, since we're talking about capital improvement stuff, so we could, since it was a blanket cover for
I believe
all that
that
stuff.
our two requests, aside from the parking lot, was painting the court services side and then increasing our camera system on the residential detention side. And so the floors we had discussed, but before we look at those floors, probably we need to discuss the building study. We have information from Architects Alliance that I'll be emailing all of you if we can be added to that April 6th agenda.
How old is that building? Because I think we talked about some issues with the actual cells as well.
Yeah, 93.
A lot's changed since then. That's not even that old, but
We,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
we are
that makes you an
grandfathered.
antique then.
It's like fine wine.
Okay. No, it's 93's not that old.
We're grandfathered in under the detention standards, but we do not meet detention standards.
So once we start doing stuff to that building, then we're going to have to upgrade that as well.
We are.
So,
Those are Supreme Court regulations.
so can we talk to regional planning? Will they be willing to work with something if we could find some grants out there possibly for the Pringer Center, for our youth centers? I mean, what's the restrictions on what they can and can't help us with? They've helped us with stormwater, the ambulance grant, our EMS substation grant.
That's a fair question,
So-
and maybe by Wednesday, we could, if there's an open forum at the,
We
is
just
it
need to
Wednesday?
hire Lincoln full-time the way it sounds right now, but there's a lot of money out there right now. And if we can get people that can either find the grants and
Yeah.
then we can get people to write them, I know y'all don't have time to sit down and do that. So,
Good idea.
Yeah.
And you know, whether we're under the thumb of the feds or whatever, sometimes it's just the right thing to do. If whether or not we had to do it, if the detention, we don't meet the standards, we should try to meet the standards
Right.
Thanks, Steve.
if we're going to be in that business.
Are you talking April 5th?
So I believe that the judge requested Wednesday, April 6th, if that could be permitted.
I think to run it into election.
oh, that's why our
Oh.
meeting's the 6th, then, yeah.
Their meeting's the 6th, but we don't have it on there. Because I just reserved the room for the 6th for the audit.
And we have not moved the meeting from the 5th to the 6th. If you want to move it, I mean, there's nothing to say. They're gonna use the room in the afternoon, they're not gonna use the room in the morning, so I don't know why.
So the meeting is the 5th, not the 6th.
But if the judge can't make it the 5th, then you guys wanna move it to the 6th, that's fine. Because there's really nothing on there right now.
I have the room the 6th.
Well, we'll just kick her.
Do you have it all, do you have it all day, or?
I do, because Williams Keepers will be here for interim audit.
You-
We'll give you this, we'll give you two.
Kristen, you can use our facility if you need to.
Okay.
So, well, I
I
was
was
gonna
just
say,
trying to avoid them having to, usually they leave their stuff
Sure.
overnight in the room, and they are here the 7th as well. So,
Well, that would work for them though as well, wouldn't it?
yeah, just a lot of back and forth.
if that was the only
So-
thing on the agenda, we could move over there too. And yeah, we still have it on the 5th.
Yeah, I've got it. So do we want to change it?
You just need to let me know, and I will try to adjust their schedule to be what day they're here.
The clerk needs it for the afternoon of the 5th.
Right, so it would work best if you left your meeting on the 5th, if
That-
that works for everybody.
Okay.
Let's check with the clerk.
So I thought they usually had it in the morning.
Yeah, usually you have it.
No?
Absentee and demonstrators are on election.
4 o'clock-ish.
Oh,
Yeah, they
okay.
come in. Yeah, and
Okay.
it's a small election,
Okay,
so Dawn can get away from the office to do a short meeting. But busier elections that we ask that you guys move it from 2.
okay. Then let's stay the 5th.
Okay.
Judge, can you let us know if you can make it the 5th?
reach out to him and see what he can do. He may be able to take a recess or something and run over.
Okay.
So we'll do that, and we'll get together on whether we take you time on the 5th for the building study, for that part of it. There's lots of other capital stuff on the list. I don't know if you want to pick and choose right now, or if you're ready to.
So we're kind of waiting to get some pricing back for that parking over there at Carnegie, right? So that's gonna be one of them where,
I think the courts have reached out and asked about their items as well. And I know the treasurer has asked about furniture. So there's multiple people asking.
let's do what we can do today and have that out of the way then. Unless you want to do it all at one time.
No, I think, we just need to, we need to make some decisions though, because it's, you know, we're going into April, so.
You guys have that?
So who's made their request that,
That's way back in the budget page, right?
Yeah.
The
I'm
courts
sorry, my
and the
script-
treasurer have both reached out to ask if their items got approved. I told them both that they needed to reach out to you all and bring some quotes or bids for the items that they had on the list so we could decide to move forward or not.
But I know Greg had some stuff on his list too. Did you want to talk about your email that you sent in the projects, or?
Yeah, I
So-
know. Provide the weather this week. Hopefully, we can finish up the lighting at the health department. That project should be done. Upstairs for the PA's office should be done in 2 weeks. Just got an email this morning. Hopefully, the garage door will be here next week, Wednesday, to be installed. Fan coils arrived last Wednesday. Those are being installed as we speak. As soon as we get stuff moved out of the lawnmower room downstairs, we're gonna remove the recorder's files that are out at health department and the other 50 boxes she has got into that room. That way they're right there by her and she can do with what she wants when she wants. Still April 24th for the bottom garage doors for the sheriff. He's supposed to let me know if that changes or not. So far he has not. Some things that Sam has brought up, Harry brought up, is Ems Floors out there when they got done with the last remodel and added all his office, they scratched the floors up pretty bad. We went out and stripped them, buffed them, and they're already back to dull and wore out again. And Dave sent me a thing to see if we can put it on the agenda to buff and strip again. Pranger, I'm gonna leave alone until after the April 5th or 6th to see what y'all do with it. Air conditioning in this building, I would like to, if it's a project we would like to do, or at least get started, is get a mechanical contractor in here to do a heating and load calculation for this building, and make recommendations to what units we need to put in where, and go from there. I just don't think we have enough cooling upstairs. I don't think we have enough cooling in this building, period, during the summer months. Winter, I think we're okay, except for a couple areas. Question?
I'd like to bank some of the heat
Sam's office?
in Sam's office, and
But in the
maybe,
summertime, it's good and cold, we're gonna hang, meat in there.
no, that's a good,
Goes back
uh,
to,
your idea of having somebody start to look at this and scope it out's, I think, a good one.
I agree, but upstairs, I think what I would look at is closing in that mezzanine, talk to Locke and see if he's okay with it. That's a lot of wasted space and that's gotta be hard to cool and heat. We've talked about it before, so I think that's something when you have whoever come in, I think that's a good idea.
And
to
I
look
think
at.
you need to make sure that you're not gonna rearrange
I don't
people in
foresee
any way.
us,
Right.
I don't foresee us.
What do you care? You're
Well-
gone in a couple months.
I'm still here.
I'm just teasing.
Good
Just
one.
teasing, Kristen.
Good
I'm a
one,
little sour that you're
Good.
making this, so, okay.
good one.
I mean, I think that we've said that this was a big project that we wanted to do
Yes.
for a long time, but it was if we were ever moving people or shifting
I
people
need to get rid of that,
around,
take it with her.
we didn't wanna do heating and cooling before you moved and respaced things.
I'm pretty sure that's how we got in the situation we are, because we
Yeah.
just keep adding offices where there weren't offices, and the ductwork is not in the right places to make it.
Correct.
What does it mean to close in the mezzanine?
There's an open where the steps
Stairway.
go up, there's like an open area. If you closed it in, the
It would-
heat and cool would stay better.
Problem in the summertime is all the heat rises upstairs and everybody downstairs is cold. Everybody upstairs is hot. Wintertime, it's the other way. Heat rises, they're all hot upstairs and they're cold downstairs because of that big hole that's there in the floor.
And it's wasted space.
Yeah.
I mean, we could use it for
So you
more
mean
office space for them.
you'd put
Take the
a
floor.
level, or
Yeah.
or floor, you'd install a
So
floor?
they have a walkway up there now, a couple offices over on this side. Do they
Right.
have offices over there too?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're inside, they're enclosed. They have partitions over here. So, I mean, they've got an area as big as this room probably.
Pretty close.
That's just.
2
open,
stories.
2 stories.
Got
I
it,
think the
okay.
hot air coming out of the auditor's office doesn't help either.
Don't worry, the prosecutor would love to take over the office that currently houses the auditor, so beware of that.
But we have no
Here
place to
again,
put her.
shifts people around.
Yeah, I mean.
I
Yeah,
don't know where you would put the auditor's office otherwise at the moment, but
Well, if you did close that atrium or whatever,
that would give him more space.
absolutely, it would give him another
Yeah, at least
4
two. Yeah.
offices?
We don't really have anywhere because the bottom of the Carnegie building is all
Carnegie's.
public defender now.
yeah.
So the only other place that wouldn't be good is over in Adams. We'd have to, I mean, we could build offices there easy enough, but
It's just tight
it's
because
not.
we have 2 people sharing an office at the moment, so the idea was eventually we could shift somewhere else, but
It's all about the vision, where you wanna be 3 to 5 years from now, and how to get started.
I don't really see, I mean, since I've been here 11 years now, the courthouse now is completely full again. There's not hardly any wasted space in that building. This building is full. Carnegie's will be full here hopefully in 3 weeks. I'm hoping that's a good estimate to get that building done in 3 weeks. There's just, Pringer's full, EMS building we're on the ambulance side is full. We're just nowhere to go.
I think space is an issue for multiple offices. I mean, you currently have one of your employees over in the sheriff's office, we have people sharing offices. I think you're gonna have to look at, is there room to grow, maybe not within this building, but somewhere else, or something to create that additional space needed to get all of the people back together that need to be.
And again, sometime in the future, taking down the old jail before it falls down can give us.
Have you been up there lately?
We got paranormals going up there next week.
So you're saying it's already fallen down?
It's bad. It's
Yeah,
bad
it is,
shape.
it is,
I
so.
wouldn't go in there without a respirator.
Yeah, it's not, and like I said, last summer, we put 10 gallons of tar up there just to keep the water from trying to get in.
So
We have
I think,
Yeah, it's a bad.
and
shape.
again, that might be one of the things we wanna look at now is
Well,
taking
and I
the
think
jail
that's the question
down.
is, do you want to start that process and see what that cost would be, or?
Before we do stuff in here.
Yeah,
We have to
I
change it
mean,
again.
What are the right order of things that you wanna do so we're not wasting money in the process if things shift?
So we talked about that before. We've got an extensive plan on what we can do where the old jail is.
Yes,
But I think you've been pushing more lobbying come off the back of here.
well, that was an option that,
Actually, it wasn't to come off the back, it was just to continue that building.
yeah, going that way instead of going to Monroe Street. you know, how the original plans, you were going west. These plans would be taking it east.
You would bring it all the way back to this building?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Coming,
Yeah. And they were, the one plans that Harry had even, they had the Sallyport. I mean, there's,
Well, Harry didn't have them. Harry found them. I
Harry
mean,
found them, yeah.
They're the same prints you've got.
I had not seen those before that kept the front of Monroe Street or the
sheriff's house?
sheriff's house wouldn't, if it were gone, the new building would not get any closer to Monroe. I hadn't seen that one before. So the one I saw took it all the way out to the sidewalk, the replacement.
Yeah.
So, but let's drop back to this building. What's the downside to saying, let's look at this HVAC and maybe, as you called it, enclose or take advantage of that
Mezzanine area?
high spot?
Where are you gonna put the prosecutors while you're doing that? They can't stay there.
You know, that shouldn't even be a concern. I mean, you find a place for 6 months or whatever it is. We can't say, well, we can't do it because
We displaced them for a couple of weeks.
we find a double wide and put it in the parking lot, and then we park somewhere else, whatever it takes.
Yeah, they worked with us really good
And-
on
and
the flooring and the painting.
They're so
upstairs.
virtual anyway,
Yeah.
that I'm not sure it would be an issue.
Thought you had plenty of room over there.
I got some room over there, but my problem is, there is a lot of paperwork for, bonds and warrants and I mean, and there have been people up there now, some of the people may be more virtual, I don't know the answer to that, but
Yeah.
the paperwork that we have to haul back and forth, I'm just saying,
Well, we'd find a spot, temporary. So back to the question, what's the downside of saying, let's concentrate on HVAC on this building as maybe the initial
I think as long as
ask?
you're leaving the footprint currently what it is, that's fine. But if you're going to, like, if you were going to divide this room and make it offices instead of a conference room, that changes your HVAC system slightly.
It does, but you know, there's vents here and vents there, so electric here, electric there, lights here, lights there. But you're saying the building is underpowered, period.
With just me guessing and watching the unit we have outside, which was here new before I got here, when it gets to 85, 90 degrees outside, that chiller outside is already running at 90%. When it gets to 95, that chiller is running at 100%, trying to keep 45-degree water coming into the building, and it's losing ground.
Yeah.
So that tells me we're undersized, big time. It's a 60-ton unit out there. We probably need closer to 80 or 90 ton. That all depends on, like Sam's office, the units. Before I got here, there used to be a automation system at one time, and it went bad, so they did away with it. I'm sure there's still, that we're tied to every unit, and we've taken some of the wire off when we had to work on some units, but I'm sure there's still some that are still hooked up to actuators for outside air. Just the other day, we found an actuator that was stuck halfway open, bringing fresh air in, and it was zero out, which shouldn't have been. It should have been closed. So there's little things that we are finding, even after all this time, that we have no idea, because we don't have a set of prints for this building that are actual, where the HVAC and stuff is run. So I have got a set of prints, but they're not actual. You look at them and they're not actually, they're run, or where they're at.
I think the big thing is, where do you want to be? What are the goals? Is it to get certain offices together in the same building? Is it not? I mean, is it time to get somebody in here that can show us a plan, what buildings we have, what you could do with the buildings we have? Give us scenarios 1, 2, and 3, and the cost, because we're guessing now. adding the building, taking the courthouse out this way, taking the jail up. You know, we need somebody to come in, we need to tell them what we want, or where we want to be, and then they're gonna have to tell us how much that would cost in different scenarios. In my opinion.
Well, the buildings we've got, there isn't any more room to expand. So,
But then you take that jail down and move it, come up, come out, but what's the goal? I mean, what, to get all the admin people in the same area, get the assessor, collector, and recorder all in the same building? I mean, what is the ultimate goal that you would like to see? And then go from there to what the dollar amount would cost.
I don't think there's any of them that are bad ideas, but we've already drawn up where the old jail was, and that would be my inclination, is to stay with something that we've got drawn up at one point. But if y'all don't like it and you wanna go another direction, then we take these and we scrap them and,
Did that plan though give you any additional space for county offices?
yeah. Yeah. No, we had, because we were gonna have 3 floors. If we went all the way up, we'd have the Sallyport, which, I mean, we're gonna take it all the way down to the bottom, rebuild it, so the floors would level up. We get a handicap spot over there, and I was thinking they was gonna have, one was gonna be a big courtroom.
And the other one was the jury, but it
Jury
wasn't
room.
quite big enough to even compare to the.
I thought we had a
jury
floor
room
we'd
that
be
they
able to
have.
move somebody to if we need to, like maybe even the treasurer, and the auditor, have them in there, and then the courts could maybe have the treasurer's office, would help them out a little bit. So then the prosecutor could get over here, or possibly even move the prosecutor over there.
I thought at one point they said there wasn't enough space.
It would be short compared to what they have now.
Well, not all of the prosecutors would move over there anyway, because I don't think they want some of the people having to go through court when they're coming in, you know, like the victims advocates and stuff.
And maybe that's a better way to do
So-
it now, is to split it up, do something different, you know, but until somebody, I mean, unless you have a committee, or I hate to say that word, but have a group, you know, to help get all the things all out there. I don't think we can do it without, you know, doing all of that.
So I guess what is the first step you want to take? Do you want to knock off some of the smaller items and decide what that larger project looks like?
well, the courts are not that big. I mean, again, rekeying locks, I don't think that's gonna work. But everything else the courts have is not, we just need to do something.
I think that their second floor detention area though could make a difference if you're adding another courtroom. I mean, could make a difference if you're adding another courtroom. You could knock that item off their list with that build. I don't know. So,
Second floor, detention room,
yeah.
that's first I've heard of it, so.
I thought they were just gonna put another cage by Sparky's desk.
I think that
He's-
that was the original plan, but is that the long-term plan? I don't know.
I guess I'd like to see the two, I saw 2 versions of the northern edge of our property that currently sits the sheriff's house
Sheriff's house
and the jail. At least 2 versions, and one of them was really trying to save everything there, but it had these goofy steps to take because none of the floors hit. One version, maybe the Cadillac or Mercedes version, had a new 4-story building that did tie in all the way up. That one, I think, after you got past the first or second floor, it said expansion space or to be determined, which was sat on the front side or the Monroe side of that plan.
Mark sent a bunch of plans to storage. You do that.
I think we all have, I think I have the same plans you do. I have that same book that you do.
I mean, I think they would have to be reevaluated now.
Oh, I think-
You know, but yes.
Yeah, that's,
Maybe this ought to be a standing item on each meeting as to what did you learn last week, if anything.
I think it definitely needs to be
But
something
I-
that moves forward.
But one thing that's been introduced today that I never heard before is to pick up extra space upstairs. Is there a load-bearing question when you put more weight on this ceiling right here, or is it?
It should be able to, it should already be factored in.
It should be. But why not pursue that between now and next week? Is there extra, we can pick up extra, this much square feet, footage for the prosecutor, which if he picked that up, or that office picked it up, does that expand the spot for the auditor so that the auditor doesn't have two people in one room? I don't know.
Well, with that, or if you think the architect should actually have to come in here and look at that.
I'm not gonna guesstimate. I'm not gonna put my neck out there and say, yeah, we can build it and not be able to build it.
Who was the architect for this third floor and this wing of this thing, or was that wasn't Architects Alliance, I don't think, was it?
Jablonski?
Jablonski, yeah.
I don't know if maybe we could get maybe Jim Wish to come by. I know he's retired, to take a look at it. Or another contractor to come by and take a look at it. To see what the options are for putting weight load up areas and then tying it back in. I would think they would have made preparing us for that, but I'm not gonna say they did or not.
Okay. That's a goal for next week, to have the answers to that part of it. And put it on the agenda for next week.
It'll probably be a standalone meeting at some point, 'cause there's.
Yeah, you're right about that. And you know, I looked back at some old commission meetings some years back where the whole table here had every elected official at it. What would you ask for if you got what you wanted? And it went around the table and they all expressed, I would need X space for X people, and I want it here or I want it there. Maybe we ought to resurrect that meeting if I could find it back.
Do you guys want to knock off some of the smaller items off the list that were included in the budget and get some of those completed in the meantime as well?
We said the courts had been asking where we were on.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
they had 2 items that didn't have a cost, but the four that did, I mean, are not
Not,
significant dollars. I think the same thing with the treasurer's furniture.
yeah,
And maybe even the recorder already got their flooring.
We'll take
but
one at a
the
time,
other 2
let's just decide.
Well, let's just talk about the courts for a second. What can we,
Sound recording system for Division 2, $12,000.
yeah.
that would be Judge Beadham?
Division 2 would be downstairs in.
Oh,
Judge's hall.
it was Judge Green was down there, that room? Or did they
I thought associate was still on it.
Yeah.
I thought they were 4 and 5.
Judge Beadham is Division 1.
I think Judge Green.
Something about
He was,
moving,
but did we
it
change?
could be Judge Green's new courtroom.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a recording system.
Yeah, so it could be his courtroom on the 4th floor, the newest courtroom, doesn't have a sound recording system.
We call it a hearing room instead of a courtroom because it's so small, but yes, it does not have a hearing, or a,
It's either
Recording
him or
system?
Because they have to move back and forth to use the recording system that exists currently.
why don't we find out who it is and,
I think it's Green,
I think it's Green.
because Beadham renumbered everything.
I don't care if it's Bugs Bunny, we need a price on it to
Basically.
find
Well,
out
their
what we're
estimate was
doing.
$12,000.
Yeah, and these prices
Do you want
could-
a more firm price? Is that
Tell
what
'em-
you're asking?
So we're gonna tell them not to exceed 12,000 and then go for
No,
it, or
I
do we
think-
want them to bring us?
I think if you're good with moving forward, Jessica or the courts is going to have to provide you with a bid or a quote.
I'm okay moving forward with it.
me too,
Me too.
Division 2 is Judge Green.
okay.
He's got a courtroom, not a closet,
That's,
hearing room.
It's cozy.
Cozy. As long as everybody took a shower and used deodorant.
rekeying the locks over there?
I don't think so.
I think we need to look at it if we had the building on. That key ring over there is just big around. Every door has got a different key.
It's different.
But until, if we make a decision to tear down the old jail and put up a new building, then I think it'd be the time to look at making one key for that whole building. Basically, it'd be a master, a general master, and then each room would have its own key.
I think Brian's coming to you with the control access type of bid system for not only computers, but getting into buildings and stuff too. Maybe that will solve the key problem.
No. Well, these are for individual.
Why wouldn't you fob these doors instead
It
of?
still doesn't solve your key problem. He's right. You still gotta carry a bunch of keys, but you won't have to issue keys like we don't. We just have fobs. But he still has to carry all those keys because there's no one key that will open the doors.
But that's something you want to wait and see.
I would like to do it, but I would like to also see if we are gonna tear down the old jail and put up something new.
Yeah.
So maybe keep that one off the list at the moment. Computer and monitor security station. I think that's at the kiosk. Adding like a camera monitor so they can tell when someone's down at the.
Have they come up to us and said anything about it and said, hey, we're ready to go, did y'all approve this, or?
No, but I think again,
We
if
can
that's,
ask them to get going on that.
give us a better solid number and come back with it if it's something you still need to do.
Let's do it.
That's, yeah.
Usually I figured they were watching the budget meetings, and as soon as it got approved, they're ready to go with
But we
it,
don't
so.
approve anything in the budget.
But that's when the budget's approved, that's when I'd be coming to us saying, hey, I had chairs in there, here's a couple of bids I got, can we go?
I think that's what they've been coming back and asking. What got approved? Nothing
Yeah,
got approved.
nothing.
You need to come back to you all.
Short of just telling them to bring all the information and get
So
on the
whichever
agenda.
kid comes to us first wanting a new bike is gonna get their bike.
Well, I think if you were on the list originally and you come back with a.
We're here.
Where's my bike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you never know.
Yes, I think let's
Okay, so,
proceed. Was the second floor detention, was that just adding,
Again, that one doesn't have a price. I think, again, could be based on what happens in the building.
okay, let's,
So the hearing assist system. I think that's a device if you have someone that's hearing impaired.
Here's what I would do. I would say this is under capital requests, all right? Whoever made this request, the instruction to them is get started on your request by getting some hard numbers. And get started is next to the sound recording system to Division 2. It's next to the computer and monitoring systems security station and the hearing assist systems. And systems has got 2 T's in it, and that might be a special kind of system, I don't know.
Special.
Okay.
Same thing with the treasurer's office, furniture and chairs.
Eric has visited with me about that a time or two, so I think it's time to pull that
I do
trigger.
too, I think.
I'm looking at things under $10,000.
Yeah.
So recorder's office, they already did the flooring.
It's done.
The office chairs, the kitchen sink and cabinet.
You want, get started under that? All right.
Yes.
Okay.
And then juvenile, do you want to hold off until your meeting next week to talk about the building? Because you had the security cameras and the painting. Do you want to wait and talk about that when you talk about building expansion, or?
I would prefer to talk about the security system today.
Okay.
We have our bid. We submitted it with the request. The total is $36.95, $3,695. We need to add another camera We want to move one camera from an office to a different location. We want to add 3 cameras to the detention rooms. We want to add a monitor to residential so that you can see what's taking place in detention, even if you're on residential. So if we only have one staff member on that side of the unit, we still have extra supervision of that unit. And then we need to upgrade the system to a 16-channel system if we're adding those additional cameras into the cells. Yeah.
Did you have prices on that?
Yeah, she has.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have, what, $36.95 in the budget book,
She had the quote when we did the
so
budget.
were we close?
That's what.
That's what.
Oh,
it is.
that's,
Oh.
this is the,
How about that?
that's a 8/23/21 date. I don't, would those numbers still be good?
I reached out to him, Scott Rundin, over the weekend, and he said that they haven't changed that much.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's adding more cameras to the room, so 4 cameras.
I don't know if you've been out there lately, but they need to have some kind of vision of what's going on out there.
Yeah.
So that's a small price tag for what we can
Yeah.
get going over there.
No,
So
I'm fine.
I'd move forward. I'd get a more up-to-date bid, though, I think, from Precision and make sure that he's gonna either honor these prices or to get us a revised bid. And if it's higher, then we can approve it whenever. Because we'll probably have a contract from him, won't we?
We can have a
So-
contract, but yeah, so, I mean, they haven't changed significantly.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll ask for an update, and then when we come back, I did speak with Judge Beadham, and he said that we could go on April 5th if we could just call him when he needs to come over.
All right. So we're going to go, let's do it, right?
Yeah,
Is the-
let's do it.
Yep.
For the
Here you go, Debbie.
juvenile.
Yep.
I want that.
See how easy that was, Toby? I mean, we're not ogres. Well,
You're tired.
Toby, is that also what you submitted under ARPA?
No.
Project that's different?
That's different.
Okay.
That's for our court system, to
Okay.
court.
This is about as bad as budget.
no, nothing.
I got a couple
Okay.
more things on the list.
All right.
Yep, keep
Okay.
going.
GIS asked for a plotter. It was not originally on the list, but we wrote it in during the budget for the $3,000. Can we tell Melissa to get us a firmer price on that?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm good with it, yeah. I forget she talked about it, but whenever she was up here.
And then Greg, do you want to talk about the flooring machines and hand tools that are up at the top? That will take care of most of the items that are under or close to $5,000.
Yeah, I sent y'all, I'd like to get 2 floor cleaning machines for the bathrooms. These are small little scrubber units. I think I sent you all a price. They were like $2,100 each. God, I can't remember. I'm trying to see it. Thank you. You know, I'm trying to get away from floor buffing machines. If we go to the flooring like we did at the Health and some other places, that way I don't need them. So I'm gonna hold off on that.
That's the plank stuff, snap together plank
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like,
You know,
That stuff holds up better even.
Yes, it does. It holds up real well. Hand tools, we're burning up some of our drills that we purchased 5 and 6, 7 years ago. Batteries are going out. Everything's going brushless now. So the wall's going brushless, Milwaukee's going and they're starting to get a little more expensive. Just need to replace a few of the tools that we've burnt up in the last 6 months or so.
So Greg, do you want to come back with a list of the flooring machines and the tools that you need?
Yes.
And bring that back to them?
now where would we keep the floor machine? Would they be in your trailer?
No, they'd be in the
We got a
building.
big old building over there.
Well, I know,
209
but I
Adams.
didn't know whether they were gonna be.
Those, I'd like to get 3 of them. One would be in the courthouse, one would be in this building, and one would be in the Carnegie building.
Okay.
To try them out. Well, I'm gonna buy one to try out first.
Okay, I heard try out and you was getting
Yeah.
3.
Sorry.
No, you said it afterwards. You said,
Yeah.
well, I'm getting one to try.
Yeah.
One to
Yeah.
try.
Yeah,
If
you're
it
fine.
works good, I'd like to buy 2 more after that.
So for hand tools, I'd prefer to give you an allowance and say, here it is, and when you burn through it, you burn through it. I don't know if y'all are along the same lines, or if you wanna have him list out every
No.
drill, screwdriver.
No.
Um, I know how I am with my tools, and just sometimes you gotta get something. So I just,
Yeah, we burnt up a drill the other day and
So-
a impact driver the other day, so.
So
What-
that gets into the question of, is it a capital purchase or is it just a maintenance expense?
Are you gonna put it on your inventory list and track it?
$500? Yes. If it's under $500, no.
If it doesn't last more than 5 years, I don't think we should need it.
Agreed.
I said it's a discussion.
Debbie Bolster,
I didn't mean to say that.
such
Because
language.
If it doesn't last more than 5 years, it's pretty.
well, screwdriver, sockets, different. Wiring tools are different, but if it's a certain drills and stuff, I mean, those things are, they can find ways of walking off, so.
Right.
Right, that's why she'll still have them on there.
So I think you need to, if you're replacing sockets or wrenches or something, you know, under $500, that's something you can pay for out of your maintenance account for the buildings. If you're buying a power tool or something over that $500 mark, then
So
it's more of a
What do we do
capital.
with tools of public works?
Yeah, our maintenance guy, or
The
Mechanics.
they have their own.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and we give them some kind of an allowance for that too.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you have
I'm not
enough?
sure that's a terrible idea either, cause then they take care of their own stuff and,
But they're specialized more for this kind of.
I was
yeah.
gonna say it's a little bit different, and I feel like that's a lot. If
It
you
is.
ask a younger person to come in that doesn't have any of that kind of stuff, I mean, someone that's a mechanic, that's their job, that's what they're building up. If you're asking a maintenance person, hey, you gotta supply all your own tools, I think that's.
I want our maintenance guy to do maintenance, so I'm gonna tell him, get some good tools to do it. I mean,
But do you want those to be
If you wanna
county
be a
tools, or
custodian, you don't
want-
need the tools to take apart a faucet or to rewire something.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, his guys are working all over the place. At Public Works, they have a location that they work
Yeah.
out of it, and I don't think his guys have that ability. Just me thinking out loud.
No,
Because
we've
So,
like to-
we've got
one of the
tools.
things we wanted to do is give them their own little spot over there in the 209 Adams, so they have their spot. They have a tool bag or something, and it's just an idea to throw around.
Majority of our buildings, we have enough tools that we've purchased over since I've been here, but a lot of them are starting to get old, wearing out. Or somebody forgets to turn the power off and uses a pair of dikes to cut the wire, and there they go, they're running.
Hey, everybody needs a little excitement. That's how you find out which breaker it is.
That's right. I agree. So it's.
That's one way.
Little things here and there
Good
that,
guy.
but you know, a good set of side cutters are gonna cost you $20. So.
Yeah, good one's easy. Okay, so then just give you the 2,500 to work on it. If it's over a certain price, then it's gotta be capital.
Okay.
So Greg's gonna bring back a list of those items that need to come out of capital. The only other item I see on the list that's below, say 15,000 is public administrator with the desktop
Desktop
scanner.
scanner.
Which I thought he did part of that with the program that he purchased at the end of the year last year, but
I'll ask Brian.
yeah, so we'll check into that one.
Okay.
So, those items we talked about, we'll tell them to get you firm pricing, or if it needs to be bid, work with Jessica, and come back with those items off the list.
Okay.
And then you're going to work with someone to look at the build out upstairs if that's a possibility.
I will make some calls.
Yes. How about this? This was our starting list, so that's column one of our super Excel spreadsheet that somebody's going to build. Let's say you, yeah. And the second column, the top of this, yeah. The top of the second column is what we did today, and those items fall in there.
Right.
And we still have the other ones to keep extending, and
So, yeah.
let's move across so we can start checking these things off.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, do you have plans you don't have for the project over here that you want someone to try to find for you?
Yeah, yes, I would like for somebody to find the official packet of taking the sheriff's house and the jail down,
See Jeff Elsher.
and the replacement goes out to the end of, or to the edge of Monroe Street.
There's gotta be more than one of these.
I've got
I've
one.
got that one too. All right, so that-
We've all got,
That's Plan A
You still
for
have
depth.
set.
B didn't take, it took
I've got-
both those facilities
I've got some
down,
blueprints in my
but
office.
didn't extend it out to the street. And it had I think it had a two-car,
It had a sally port and then it had a office also down there.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's sort of
So
B,
you're
but,
missing that set of plans?
well,
No.
I saw it last week as I was cleaning out things I hadn't even gotten through yet from my predecessor. He had quite a list or quite a drawer full of things. Yeah, budgets and so on. So fine, but now I can't put my fingers
It was
back on it.
unique, but I don't know if it would give us enough space.
And I don't think either one of those was that other plan which was to save those facilities and have all these offsets and half steps and half floors.
They gave us 3 options, is that right?
Maybe that was a subset of the
Three
other.
options. One was to try to save some of the building, realign it. Another one was to tear it halfway down, then go try to realign again. The other one was to tear it all the way down and start fresh and bring it up.
I think Debbie's got it here, she'll send it to you.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all. So, yeah. We also had another issue, was it Friday that the clock tower was, I didn't know what time it was. I mean, it's Jeff, you need to either get up there and just ring it manually or, but
I
it
just got
was,
the clock fixed on my truck. Give me some time.
it was ringing.
Daylight savings hurts me.
It was ringing. We could do what Hawthorne has done, just take the hands off the clocks. But
It's
that's,
hopping more and more.
and it really had Harry confused too, so.
No, it kept waking you up from your morning nap.
Oh, that was it, yeah.
Rings the bell.
Yeah.
So,
But we need, somewhere along the way, we need to look at,
Well, these studies
Doing
and
some.
assessments were 2010 and 2011, so, but I will get this to you.
Yeah, it's been a long
it's
time.
before I was here.
Before-
and what last year or the year before, we had that company coming through and look at it too, so,
The clock?
yeah, all 3 of us.
Yeah, we talked about going to all the mechanical stuff and having a machine that actually ran everything, but the hands probably need to be replaced at some point. I think they're wood and were they metal, but they bore out
Yeah,
and get wore out and stuff, and some of the gears up there, but
yeah, and then the bell, somebody said we need to look at the bell to make sure it's not wearing through too, or it chimes or something.
One thing at a time.
Anything else? Capital, anything else today?
Not today.
Not
No,
today.
I
That's
think we
enough.
need to figure
That's
out-
it's 11 o'clock. 10:58, yeah.
All right, so if we're done with that, but you did mention something a while ago, Chris, and while you're still here, the audit. And I know we had some emails going back and forth, and they're gonna be here next week or April 5th. So are we ready for them, or do we still need stuff?
There are still some items that are lacking from the courts. I'm missing
Okay.
a December bank statement. I'm missing board of prisoner billings from October, November, and December. So that's holding up balancing cash, balancing deferred, balancing receivables. So those are all items that we're still waiting on and cannot move forward with those journal entries until we receive those items.
Do the
Everything
parties,
else is on track.
do the parties across the walkway know that?
Yes,
Okay.
Plural, parties.
yes.
Okay.
There has been some progress made because we were all the way back to July.
Yes.
So we've moved that target up, but we're still missing items for the year.
Which-
So any help from your end would be appreciated if you could push as well.
Do you have that list that you can email to the parties that need to get it to you and CC us on it, and we can do follow-ups? and
Yes,
I-
I will get you an updated list on where we're at, because the first few times included everything that was missing, and there has been progress.
You have, yeah, I've seen some of those, so.
But yes, there's still
Yeah.
items that are not here.
Last year at this time, there was no such list.
Last year at this time,
Let's just roll the clock back. When we're sitting here a year ago, did you have the same concern that you had?
we were not as far behind, but yes, there was a comment in the management letter about reports being timely from that office. So
Okay.
we were having the same issues at this time last year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and parking. I'm about ready to give that up to somebody else.
We were almost out of here. Why were we doing that?
Well, you're asking what we need. We need more parking. We possibly need some more handicap parking for, some of the employees that are either, they're not handicapped, but having operations and such or whatever, if they're having knee replacements and they have a placard. I know we chase somebody off from this one down here because we see it all the time. So if somebody stays parked in there all day, it's just supposed to be people doing business with the courthouses. So I don't know where else to go right now besides to take over 209 Adams. So those are our spots. I know you're shaking your head no, but I don't want to kick the library out tomorrow, but I think we need to be thinking about that at some point. We need to tell them, we need those spots. They're gonna may have to find something different unless y'all got another idea.
What's the inventory of spaces available at 209, and who occupies those spaces today? I guess I'd like a census.
Okay.
The
Yeah, I don't know
library
my
is
desk.
paying for 29, they're losing some with the garage door going in there.
They lost 2, yes.
Yeah, and.
Did they lose two, or did we lose two?
They did.
They lost, they were.
Theirs are against the building and theirs are on the outside. And then they're on, I guess, the south side of the middle. So
Do they
we're-
know they lost
We're only
two?
using 10
Yes,
spots.
they know.
They know,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, they
All
keep
right.
sending us money for it, so now that's how I knew.
All right.
So,
I think you need to think too, with the change at the Carnegie building with that project, you're losing 7. Currently
Yeah.
that are double parked or triple parked there, which is public defender and things like that. So there's going to be additional need coming once that project is started and completed.
Are
And
we,
we might
are we
have-
losing those only because the new plan doesn't have triple park?
Yes.
So what's to keep it from being triple park under new plan?
I thought we were gonna keep it the same.
I don't know.
The way I understood it, when he was in here, the option that they picked, they
Right.
would eliminate.
It parks them this way instead of double and triple this way.
No, because we're not doing the,
We're not doing the deck.
we're not doing the deck, so it's gotta stay the same way it is.
Yeah.
Their plan said you were gonna lose 7.
I don't think we necessarily have to provide parking for the public defender. We have, just because we're nice. But talking with some other counties, they do not provide parking for public defenders.
So I think that's
There is the state lot, so I think, we had talked to the library about taking their employees out of 209 and just making it for
Patron.
patrons and marking it better, because part of the problem right now is that sign is the most confusing thing I've ever seen. But, they're talking of adding on a 3rd floor to the library. They want to stay down here. Parking is an issue.
I think that confusing assigned parking and public parking in the same lot though is going to create issues because, back here in the back of the building is the same problem. It's all assigned to county employees, but that doesn't stop the person coming in to pay their taxes from pulling in whatever open spot that they want. If you have a lot
That's half and half.
that's half and half, I think it's gonna get even more confusing as to which spot is a county
so say,
spot,
we
which
can
spot
fix
is
the
a public
signage.
spot.
I can put private parking or permit parking only in there and it's
Spikes.
hours.
Spike strips work really well.
But the bad thing is even if we have permit parking is enforcing it. So people don't care. They snub their nose at it. What are we gonna do? Call the sheriff and tell him to come over there? Well, then he's gotta take time out of his work and then you gotta call and make sure that whatever car it is doesn't belong to somebody else. And we talked about it and I told him I'd buy him a piece of pie if he took care of that for me, but it wasn't enough.
I haven't seen no pie yet, bro.
Oh, be careful.
I'm just
I'll bring you a whole pie.
Getting serious about pie, and I ain't seen none yet. I heard talk.
So like
Well, we
that-
had Pie Day and we didn't
I don't-
even get any pie.
I did.
And I even sent you a picture.
I mean, I don't wanna just kick them out, but if we pick a date and say, y'all got X amount of months to figure something out, and even if it's 6 months to find something, there's parking back there. We have permit parking back there for some of our employees. So they can do the same thing. I don't know, when we bought that, we didn't have anything in the contract that said we're buying this and we're always gonna give somebody else parking. I mean, you gotta take care of number one and take care of ourselves here. So we either tell the public defender to find some spots, if you wanna
Well,
do
they
that.
have the state lot.
We've got a lot of state
Down
employees over
Monroe.
here next door that use
Yes,
this
that
lot.
can be down Monroe.
Okay, I'm gonna have you go talk to them and let them know they need to find a place.
Well, it's,
Huh? All right, I'll find out the spots and stuff. I mean, I got the file on my desk, but I don't remember which. I've got 3 plans here for the parking lot over there, and I thought one of them told us how many spots we were losing and gaining and such, so we'll have to revisit that. Because if we're losing 6 or 7 there, that's
I thought we were putting it back the same way
gonna be
it
a huge
was.
deal.
I thought that the thing said losing 7 with the plan that you all picked.
I'll go back and look.
Okay, and then I think Melissa's gonna talk to David. David probably don't wanna talk to me anymore, but, about putting bicycle racks possibly up in front of the building. She did a little survey. I don't know if y'all saw that, people wanting to ride bikes to work and have a place to park them or to use them downtown and use the facilities if you're going to court or whatever, especially with the gas prices.
okay. Anything else?
I think that's it for now.
Don't we need signs for the bicycles?
I move we stand in recess until 4:30.
Don't ask me where the strip clubs are, we're all right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. You missed that. Where did you go that day?
I feel bad about it now.
Hey, you were supposed to bring my car around yesterday.